Hi everybody, welcome to the MSW program. I'm not kidding you, I watched America's Next Top Model last night to get ready for my video shoot and to give this my best. So welcome to the School of Social Welfare. My name is Greg Merrill. I'm the Director of Field Education, and I want to give you a brief overview of our MSW program and the important part of it, which is the field education component. So welcome to the library. This is where you'll be for orientation, and you'll spend a lot of time in this room. The first thing I want to share with you is our overall philosophy of education for our MSW program. So our program has a concurrent focus where you are simultaneously taking classes and serving as a professional social worker in an actual agency. And what this allows for is a very, very strong abstract and conceptual and social scientific framework for social work, at the same time of doing things that are applied, that are real world. And really, there's really an interesting tension that goes on between going back and forth between conceptual and actual worlds. And so that's, I think, very, very exciting for your learning. I think it can actually be more confusing, but in the end, I think it's better preparation for you to be a leader in social work when you leave our school. So I'm very excited to work here and to be part of this very exciting school. On our faculty, we have a number of academic faculty. These are PhD level senior professors who have national and international impact through their writing, their research, and their policy work. I happen to supervise and work on what's called the field education team, and we're a team of 7 professional practitioners who have many, many years serving in the front lines of public social services in California, as well as leading programs and agencies. And we partner with our Senate or academic colleagues to create this dynamic learning environment, this back and forth between the abstract and the applied. Okay, so that's a little bit about what's unique about UC Berkeley is having this tension, as well as so many field educators like myself who are here to really help you learn to be a great social work practitioner. Here's how we help you learn that. One is we're going to work with you to arrange 2 academic year-long field placements where you'll be learning the professional roles and competencies related to social work. And secondly, you'll also be in seminars led by us. And those are weekly or bi-weekly seminars where you meet with a group of 15 students like yourself, learning to be a practitioner in the same area. And we have reflective discussion, and we focus on problem solving in challenging situations, skill development, and just really how to support each other in doing the complex and difficult work that social work can be, as well as to inspire each other and to really enjoy growth and the rewards of the work. So both the placement and the seminar really allow students to feel, I think, very supported and grounded in actual practice and learning thereof. So let me tell you about our field placements. So as I mentioned, you'll have 2 field placements. In your first year, you'll be in a little bit more than a 50-day placement. It starts toward the end of September. It'll be Wednesdays and Thursdays for the vast majority of you, and it will go until the end of April or early May. Okay, so it's a 50-day placement. In the second year, you start the placement early in September. It's 3 consecutive days a week, and for most of you, those days will be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and it goes until the end of April or early May. And again, it's about double the length of the first-year placement. So we're very, very proud to offer you 2 distinct learning settings and opportunities related to becoming the practitioner and the leader you wish to be. So let me tell you a little bit about the first-year placement, which is probably the one you're most concerned about now. So since it is the shorter placement, and since it's also in your first year, which is called the foundation year, which means focusing on generalist, what we call generalist or foundation social work practice, there are some specific elements that relate to what we look for when we place you. One is we really want you to do something different. We want you to be with a different population, doing a different kind of intervention, and also in a different agency, if possible, different setting than you've ever been in before. Many students come in and they sort of want to just keep doing the same work, which we completely understand, and we support that if you want to have your career in a certain focal area. But in the first placement, we really encourage you to diversify your experience, to expand and broaden your horizons, and also simply just to try something new and to really try on the role of being a learner. Of course, we want that placement also to make good educational sense for you. It isn't meant to just be a tangent or a one-off, but rather something that really does, as different as it is, does actually relate back to your central goal, the reason why you came to our program. So let me tell you what you can do to participate in our first-year placement process. First off, there is a pre-placement questionnaire that is electronically available. It's about 4 or 5 pages in length. We really need you to spend a good hour filling this out and sending this back to us. And this really tells us with great detail what some of your logistical needs and concerns are, what your overarching educational goals are, what are the things that you already know and feel confident about, what are the things that you just haven't had the opportunity to be exposed to yet. And this really helps us to begin thinking about your placement. In addition, we also need a professional liability insurance form back from you. This allows us to insure you so that when you begin field placement, you're completely covered by our professional liability insurance policy. We also would like a copy of your updated resume. Of course, the resume was included in your admissions materials, but we also know many of you have worked in new settings or continue to work in existing settings, and we want that to see what your most recent resume looks like. When we receive your materials, someone like myself, who's responsible for you and about 14 or 15 other students in your concentration area, will schedule an appointment for you to either come in or meet with us by phone or Skype if you're not local. And we'll have a fairly long and detailed conversation with you about what your goals are, what are the things that you already know and feel comfortable with, what are the things that you don't know that you want to know, and of course we'll tell you the things that we feel that you don't know that you probably need to know to be successful in the way that you want. So we're frank with you, but we also listen to you and we're collaborative, and then it is our job to figure out of all the available placements that we have, and we have well over 300 agencies that we work consistently with, really what is the best available educational match for you. So what we will do is we will match you to an actual agency and to a field instructor in that agency. Field instructors for us hold their MSW degree typically, and a typical field instructor has been in their agency for at least 5 years, has at least 10 years post-master's experience, and also 70% of our field instructors have licenses in California. So we have a very experienced group of professional social workers who work with us to help educate and train MSW students. So we think about you, and then we think about what's out there, and then we come up with what we think is an optimal match, and we will let you know what we think that match is, and then you will go ahead out, particularly when you arrive here locally if you're not here now, and you will interview, and then you and they will let us know if you feel like it's a match. If it's not a match, we'll sit down with you, we'll reevaluate, rediscuss, and we'll try to figure out another viable option for you, okay? So what I want you to know is that this process will begin for some of you in June, for some of you in July, for some of you in August. We tend to roll it out, and since you're not in competition with each other for placements, we'll, if you just pay attention to your email and get back to us right quick when you hear from us, we will move your process along. You will begin placement, as mentioned, in late September. Your placement days are Wednesdays and Thursdays. However, throughout September, we ask you to reserve all Wednesdays and Thursdays for activities related to preparing yourself to enter a field placement. All right, so if you work or have commitments on those days, I just want you to know in advance that those days will generally need to be available. All right. So I want to tell you about our second year process, even though it's not as immediate of a concern to you. It's just important for you to understand how the two fit together. Because it's about twice as long as, there's someone coming in the library, because it's about twice as long as the first year placement, and because you start it sooner and you have 3 days a week, these are the placements where we really encourage you to select your passion, your specialty area, and really just center on what you most want. And so when you come back from winter break in mid-January, we have a fantastic website that has over 300 listings on it of second-year field placements. You have an opportunity to talk to students who are currently or were formerly in that field placement. You have an opportunity to sit down with folks like myself to review and reassess your field education goals. And then you get to choose 4 places where you'd like to interview. We will let you interview at 2 or 3 of those places, and you get to go to the placement that you most want where you're accepted. And so it's a much more of a process where you're in charge of the process and we simply guide you. And so it's considered more of an elective placement. And so just to say that that's an exciting thing that we are for you as well. Okay, let me check my little list here. I think I've covered most things. So frequently asked questions. Do I need to have a car? You do not need to have a car unless you're a Title IV-E student, in which case part of your stipend package requires you to have at least access to a car. If you do have a car, we encourage you to bring it to campus. We have some great placements that do require a car or are just outside of public transportation range, and it will allow us to find you an optimal fit. So it's advantageous to have one, but if you don't have one, please don't worry. The vast majority of our placements are within reasonable travel distance using local public transportation. Do I find my own placement, or can I find my own placement? Well, the answer to that is primarily and mostly no. It's actually our job to find you a placement, and we do that based on an educational assessment of you, based on placements where we have a long-standing relationship. While we occasionally can open a new placement for an incoming student, we have actually found that doing that is volatile and unpredictable, and that students generally have a better experience if they are in an agency where we have a long-standing relationship with the agency and the field instructor. So we tend to try to find you something in our existing network that we're confident in, and we'll work with you on that, and you don't need to go find your own placement. Some people ask, can I do an internship in the agency in which I work? Sometimes that actually is possible, particularly if your agency is a large agency, if they're willing to help you switch units, and if you have a different supervisor or field instructor, and if they can protect your learning and not treat you like an employee, but rather treat you like a student and create learning opportunities around your needs versus around their needs. So that, in some cases, is possible. In terms of stipends, most of the placements are unpaid. There are a handful of placements that come with a small stipend. There are a larger number of stipended placements in the second year process, but it's just not something we can guarantee or we can, or that you can depend upon. So we just want to be honest with you about that. In terms of other things you can do to get ready, in addition to getting those forms back to us and meeting with your consultant when they reach out to you, if you have health care available to you now, there's some tests that you can get that would be helpful for you often in securing a placement. It's helpful if you've had a recent tuberculosis test, so a PPD skin test or a chest x-ray. Many placements require you to have proof of vaccination for measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella. Also, some placements require immunization called Tdap, which is for tetanus, diphtheria, and acellular pertussis, or whooping cough. So if you have health records available to you, if you have a physician available to you, kind of encourage you to get these things taken care of or get verification of them and bring them with you. If you don't worry about it. We have a great university health service here, and these things can be provided to you at a very affordable rate there. So rest up, because we're going to really challenge and inspire you when you arrive here in late August. Thanks for tuning in. Our field office, should you have questions or concerns, can be reached at 510-642-1306 or swfield@berkeley.edu. Thanks a lot.